this information is absolutely critical for developing services to support women who are experiencing violence, as well as deepening our understanding of what we need to do to prevent both intimate partner femicide and the intergenerational cycling of violence. My name is Rachel Jewkes. I'm the Executive Scientist at the South African Medical Research Council. I joined the council about 30 years ago and established the Gender-Based Violence and Health Research Unit. My Wellcome Trust funded project is called Fedisha Mudikologo, and it means end the cycle. So what are the cycles we're trying to end? Well, we want to generate the knowledge that will contribute to us ending, first of all, the intergenerational cycling of violence. And that's the phenomenon by which children who are exposed to violence, those children, when they grow up, are more likely to become perpetrators and become victims of violence. And so ending that intergenerational cycle is critical for the prevention of intimate partner violence. But we also see other cycles, so one of which is the cycle of violence and responses to violence that traps women in violent relationships. We want to understand what makes women stay with violent men, at what point do they leave, when they're given assistance to leave, how much does that assistance protect them from future violence, and also if they become single, whether which women are at higher risk of repartnering with men who are also violent again. The sites are all in different provinces. We're planning to recruit initially 12,000 women who've experienced severe intimate partner violence by partners they've had in the last year, and then we want to follow the women up to ask women to come back and complete an annual interview, so that we find out core indicators of the trajectory of women's lives over the next 5 or 6 years. And then our plan is to ask those women, if they have children over the age of 6, if we could interview their children over 3 to 4 years, interviewing them every 6 months to understand the impact of violence on the children's lives and to begin to understand which of those children are more at risk of perpetrating or becoming victims of violence themselves.
We know a lot more about how many women are killed and when they killed and who they killed by, but we don't necessarily know what has led to them being killed. And so we're wanting to understand the risk factors around this. And this project enables us to look at, from the perspective of women themselves who experience severe intimate partner violence, who then may or may not escalate into a femicide. We want to understand what were some of the big risk factors or even the red flags that they experience through these abusive relationship cycles that ultimately result in a femicide, or what differentiates people who experience gender-based violence who are not killed by a partner from those who are killed. And it's a big, difficult and complex question to answer, but in answering that question, I believe we will be able to definitely add to a very, very important evidence base around why women are killed in relationships.
For me, this work is close to my heart. And so I just make sure that whoever comes here is treated with dignity and respect. And that is one thing also that I encourage my team to do on a daily basis. More than anything, yes, we are collecting data, we are researchers, but we are working with humans. It's so good to see the impact it has when women live here, when they have seen a social worker, the hope they have, the strength that they get after leaving the site. It's just seeing the little bit of impact that we are doing.
Women have told us repeatedly that they find being taken through this whole story of their lives in our interviews to be really helpful to them.
We're really wanting to look at how are women protected, if at all, by the range of different services as well as the range of different actors in the criminal justice system. So it has a lot of implications for how services work, but also for what this might mean for policy and legislation in this country.
Wellcome Trust is a fantastic funder because they want to fund really important research questions, and they give realistic amounts of funding. Wellcome Trust was an absolutely key funder for this work.